Hi, this is Jeff Richards, Columbus, Ohio. You're listening to Barbecue Central.
Start the game! Let's go!
We'll do it live.
Okay.
Well, do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
So to get that perfect barbecue, you use wood. Are you sure it's safe? Whatever. We put the lighter fluid on, strike the match, and... Oh! Should we call the fire department? That might be a good idea.
All right, good evening, and welcome to the Really Big Barbecue Central Show. This is the show that talks about all things important to the world of barbecue and grilling, originating from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city of Cleveland, Ohio. It is the barbecue capital of the North Coast, and I am your program host, Greg Rempe. Happy to have you aboard for your fine live fire cooking and barbecue and grilling show. Lots of ways to get in touch with me, should you see fit during the course of the next 120 minutes, but here are the two most impactful ways.
You can get in touch with the show by calling 216-220-0966. Email Greg at the BBQCentralShow.com. On the Twitter and Instagrams at BBQ Central Show.
Everything else you want to find out about the show can be found at the main website, thebbqcentralshow.com. And here's what's happening in case you didn't get the newsletter. Number one, we're back, baby! Live in Cleveland. Back again. We'll get into that here in just a few moments. Coming up in about 12 minutes from now, I welcome you to what is the last quarter of the last month of the third quarter of 2019. As we all know, 2019 rapidly coming to a close as we are getting ready to close out the third quarter of the business year here and the calendar year, I guess. That, of course, means a visit from the guy who originally started as the pitmaster of Killer Hog's barbecue team, since grew into a little fledgling website and corresponding YouTube channel with just short of 700,000 subscribers. That's known as How to Barbecue Right. We know him here as Malcom Reed, and we will talk to Malcom on a bunch of different topics. Two new recipes that he's had out in successive weeks, spicy chicken sliders, and something that drew my attention that I wanted to find out more about, char siu pork. And now I have to go off of memory, very dangerous. But I think that's not like the first time I've seen char siu pork, even within the last number of weeks. I think one of my other recurring guests might have done something in a similar vein, although it might have been chicken and not necessarily pork. But now we're starting to see a little bit more of that Asian flair and Asian spice. Char siu pork fitting right into there, so we'll talk to Malcom about that. Plus, there was a bunch of questions that you guys left out on Facebook a little bit earlier that we'll try and mix in. So always fun to talk to Malcom here on the first Tuesday of each and every brand new month. Then 35 past the hour, had Pit Barrel Cooker, and I let them off the hook, let's just say this, because they are a integral part in where are they at now? It is Atlanta, I believe, and there's a big Ace Hardware event, vendors show that's going on down there in Atlanta, and they are a big part of that. And Noah was going to carve out some time, and I said, you know what? That's a real big deal. This is hardly a big deal when we're looking at business. Certainly great to catch up with Noah whenever I have the opportunity, whether it's on or off air. And I said, go ahead and you do your thing. Get that right. And if it makes sense, we can go ahead and drop you in. But I decided it would be best at this point to leave out. Now, what does that mean to you? The highly coveted open segment at 35 past the hour. Now, I have plenty to get through, not the least of which is this Popeye chicken craze that's going on. It's absolutely ludicrous. Much like Spaceballs and Ludicrous Speed with Dark Helmet, Popeyes Chicken has now taken ludicrous speed when it comes to fast food chicken. I will cover that in the open segment, plus a number of other things to get to as well. Your phone calls and emails would be spectacular in that segment. It's open, so anything can happen. Then we will move to the second hour, and I can almost guarantee, as close to stone cold lead pipe lock as I can get, that while I have Craig Barr, who is the man suing Popeyes Chicken for continually running out of these magical chicken sandwiches, I would hazard a guess that while I have him locked in at top of the second hour, he's going to be about as reliable as Santa Claus showing up at top of the second hour. But I have had a number of text correspondence with him that I may or may not share in the open segment, depending on how much love I'm feeling from Craig Barr as we lead into the top of the second hour. So that's a dice roll at best. 14 past the second hour is a stone cold lead pipe lock, one of the most popular barbecuers out there, whether it be on the competition circuit, writing books, doing recipes, teaching classes with the Traeger, or currently starring on Food Network in a series called Barbecue Beatdown. Friend of this show, Danielle Bennett, makes her return to the Barbecue Central show, Diva Q, in case you didn't know that. And she will pull both segments. So if you've always wanted to ask a Diva a question, I would invite you to call in, although I know it's very intimidating have a celebrity like Diva and a highly trained interviewing professional like myself on the line at the same time. You might feel a little inferior. It's natural. Go ahead. Give us a call. We'll rate and review you, give you 5, 4, 3, 2, or 1 stars if you're not that good. But we'll take your question. I'll let you go real quick. Just, here's my advice. If you want to jump in, hi, this is my name. This is where I'm calling from. Don't ask us how we're doing because we are great. I'm hosting the show. Diva's on the show. Trust me, we're both great. And say, I've always wanted to ask you this question. What's it like to be on a TV show? Or what cayenne pepper mix is in this kind of whatever. Don't get lost in the niceties and exchanges and salutations. Nobody gives a crap about that. When I go to you, just jump on. Diva, great to talk to you. Here's my question. Boom. Don't ask us how we are. Please don't. That gets you run off this show very quickly. Assume we're all great. Or maybe I'll tell you a story. Then I'll know for sure that you really didn't want to ask me that question, but you just did it out of habit. Get out of that habit when you're calling shows. Bit of housekeeping to do. Before I do that, follow me socially at BBQ Central Show on Instagram and Twitter /BBQ Central Show on Facebook. I need to send out a very special thank you to a pal o' mine. He hosts his own barbecue and grilling show on Wednesday evenings, the Owl's Nest Barbecue Show. But he filled in for the really big barbecue show last week, and he did it in successful fashion. Steve Ray, I bid you many, many thank yous. And look, it was a great show. I was in Chicago starting on Saturday afternoon through Sunday, through Monday and Tuesday. We left Chicago around 5 p.m. Central, and that's a bit of a jaunt, so I know I wasn't going to make it back in time. And I relied on a guy that is a radio professional in background, has a show, knows how to host a show. But it's not the same as me. You don't get the same character. You don't get the same cadence. You don't get the same way around a show as I typically do it. Then Steve does it, but I know by and large, you're going to get a different take on a show. He's going to run it differently than me. He's going to do all the things that I'm asking him to do. But you get a different human being running the show. So if you're just a fan of the show, I mean, isn't it great to get interesting and different and new points of view from somebody else besides me? I have to get a little bit long in the tooth at some points. So to mix in somebody like Steve, who has his own opinions. I mean, he's an embedded correspondent. We all know that. You get to hear him the fourth Tuesday of every month anyway. But now you get to see him on a really big stage, conducting interviews with nationally and perhaps globally renowned pizza expert Matt Frampton. You also get to hear him follow up and do a great interview with Leanne Whippen, who ended up winning Barbecue Brawl Flavors Assignment. So she's the master of Q of 2019. And that was a great interview. Plus, the embedded correspondents were the second half of that show. So you know that's going to be great. And he did a great job. I got a lot of great emails saying that Steve filled in great for you. So here's my question. Do you have what it takes? Have you always opined for your chance to host the show? Steve's great. What happens if Steve has the flu? I got nobody else to come out of the bullpen. Do you think you have what it takes? Could you host a 120-minute show? Let me know. Let's talk about it. I wouldn't mind growing the stable. Shoot me an email, Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. We'll have conversations. What would have happened had Steve broken a hip on the way to the microphone Tuesday night and not have been able to do the show? I'll need to have another reliever. All right, Malcolm Reed coming up out of the break. By the way, thanks again, Steve. Great job hosting, professional. I mean, all the way down the line. I mean, this guy's a true professional. Watch his show, Owl's Nest Barbecue, on Wednesdays at 7. Great stuff. All right, now let me tell you about Green Mountain Grills. 3 different models to choose from. 2 different lines to choose from, the Prime line and the Classic line. 3 different models. The Jim Bowie, that's the big one. Daniel Boone's medium size. Davy Crockett, travel size. That's right. We are in the midst of professional football season now, folks, and you know what that means. Tailgates, college football, of course, means tailgates. Davy Crockett is probably going to be the one you want to use most of the time. Totally portable, fits in the back of most trucks, vans, and SUVs. You got the pellet-fired goodness, 12-volt technology. If you don't have a traditional power outlet, you can always plug it into that 12-volt outlet in your car, or that 12-volt adapter in your car. If you want something a little bit bigger for the porches and the patios and the decks, Jim Bowie, Daniel Boone, both of those, by the way, you can rip the guts out of those and put that pizza oven insert that Matt Frampton talked about last week with Steve Ray as well. And that's like $130 or less. You can get it online. You can buy it from your Green Mountain Grill dealers. Green Mountain Grills are only sold by dealers, by the way, so visit greenmountaingrills.com, find the dealer nearest to you. And they also have some really great barbecue accessories as well, outside of the pizza. Sauces, rubs, other accoutrements to make your barbecue and grilling life easier. Green Mountain Grills, long-time sponsor of this show. So proud to have them, Jason Baker and the gang out there. greenmountaingrills.com. That's greenmountaingrills.com. We are back with Malcolm Reed right after this. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting live from the BBQ Central Show studios in Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the BBQ Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
All right, this portion of the show being brought to you by Butcher Barbecue, makers of award-winning injections, marinades, rubs, seasonings, barbecue sauces, grilling oils, all of Butcher Barbecue products, tested on the competition circuit as well as backyards worldwide. Be the pitmaster of your neighborhood and visit butcherbbq.com to stock up now. Always trust your butcher. All right, it's the first Tuesday of the month. You know what that means. All 2019. We've been chatting it up with the guy that is in charge of how to barbecue right, Malcolm Reed. Hey, Malcolm.
How's it going, Greg?
Absolutely fabulous, my friend, and always appreciate you giving time to the show here. I love the revised background that we have going on with you. It's very mysterious.
Yeah, I'm at the office tonight.
Oh, all right. So we're blurring out
Away from
anything.
the house, yeah.
Blurring out all patents and secret recipes I can see. So good job on that. So we're just shy of 700,000 YouTube subscribers. I checked maybe 2 or 3 hours ago. You were sitting at 696. I mean, are we anticipating a million crossover by end of the year, do you think, or is that a little aggressive?
I don't think it'll be end of the year. I hope so, but it's a slow. We kind of go at a snail's pace, so we're just keeping on chugging along.
Are there plans that you and Rochelle have made where once you cross 1 million subscribers, you're gonna pop champagne, or you're gonna go, crawfishing or something like this?
We're going to Hawaii.
Are you really?
We've already started making plans. So
Wow.
we've got a little time to save up.
Now, are you a big island guy, or are you going to have to consult people on a Hawaiian trip? Have you ever been there before?
I've never been, so yeah, I'm open for suggestions, man. Have you been before?
Malcolm, I think if we're being honest, we know I don't even leave the state of Ohio, so the answer is no. But my uncle was a real big travel guy for a long time, spent many a trip over in Hawaii, so I have some insider information if you're looking for it. We can pass it offline.
Sure.
Yeah.
I love it.
All right, so are you a fantasy football guy for real?
I am, man. Yeah, well, I'm the cook, so I think these guys they take it a little more serious than I do, so they let me in the league.
So do
But
you
I've won the league before. I finished fourth last year, and
All right.
I've been doing it with these guys, I guess, since like 2010, something like that for 9-10 years almost.
All right, so you are doing a draft and you have a team and you do all this stuff. Yeah, wow. Is that a PPR league?
It is. It's a PPR league.
I have no idea what that
League.
means.
We have the waiver wire. We've got it all.
Wow. Okay, I don't even know what PPR means, but I hear that term thrown around all the time. So,
Points per reception.
Points per reception. So, is your team only wide receivers then?
No, man. You play. We play a standard Yahoo league. So, excuse me, quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, defense, kicker, and a flex player. So, and a bench. So.
Now, have you had this fantasy draft yet since the season's already starting? Like, was that a week or two ago?
2 weeks ago, I guess.
All right.
2 weekends ago, yeah.
And how do we feel about Malcolm's? You feel good about that draft?
I do, man. I always feel pretty good. I got a decent rating. I think I was rated like a B+ on Yahoo. So
all right.
got my first week. I'm projected to beat the guy I'm going up against, and if my players don't get hurt, that's where I fall off in season management. I usually do pretty good in the draft, but as the season goes on, I'm busy, so I don't get to watch it. So
that's where all the nerds come in and like rip the league, right?
Oh, these guys that I play with study it. They're into it. I mean, they all have real day jobs, and I guess they can sit there and watch the stats and what's going on. And I'm doing good just to keep up and hang on.
Yeah. So who did you draft for your quarterback?
I've got Jared Goff. And I've got Wentz from Philadelphia. I picked him up as a backup. So
anybody take Baker Mayfield?
Yeah, he was actually. Let's see, Mahomes I think was the first quarterback took in our league, and Mayfield was up there. He was in the top 5. So my strategy is always take a quarterback late. Go ahead and get those skill players, the running backs and receivers, and then there's usually a decent top 12 quarterback that I can start. So.
Do you feel better about your team winning your fantasy league, or do you feel better about the Cleveland Browns winning their division?
Man, the only thing that worries me about the Browns is their O-line. I've got Chubb. I took Chubb, so he's my running back. So I'm a de facto Browns fan now. So I feel pretty good. I think Pittsburgh is going to be their competition, but I think the Cleveland's going to surprise you.
All right, we're talking with Malcolm Reed, a little bit of football talk here by me, who is not a pro at all, and Malcolm Reed, who appears to dabble in it and is in a fantasy league, so we wish him good luck with that. Do you have some kooky name, or are you just like Killer Hogs fantasy football team, or what?
No, it's usually like Max Monsters or something like that. That's what I go by.
All right.
Something easy.
So I had a question as I had started promoting our segment, as everybody knows that we meet up once a month here on the first Tuesday of a new month. When is the Cajun rub going to be available for sale? You still in the tinker stage on that, or are you ready to rock?
I placed my first order today, so I'm hoping I got my labels in. The bottles are the manufacturer's got the bottles, so I'm hoping within the next few weeks I'll be able to start selling and shipping. I hope. All
right. So from if people don't watch your YouTube, or they're just kind of rolling in looking for a new rub or adding something to the arsenal, describe flavor profile wise what the Cajun rub is.
Well, I was going for something different than barbecue. So it's kind of a Cajun Creole inspired seasoning. If you think of something along the lines of, I guess everybody knows kind of Tony Chaucer's or something like that, or Slap Your Mama, there's a lot of good Cajun rubs out there. Paul Proujon makes a good line of different ones. And so I use a lot of that stuff when I'm doing seafood or, doing different things. And so I just decided I was going to come out with the Cajun seasoning. And I hadn't really said much about it, but I've also got a jerk and I've also got a Mexican inspired seasoning. All three of them will be ready at the same time.
All right. And when you are putting these together, this is a question I've asked a number of other people. Maybe it's just been a straight up interview with somebody that's looking to bring a sauce or a rub to market. I mean, you're somebody that has sauces and rubs that are already out there and they're already successful. 10 or 15 years ago, it was a lot easier entry into the market as far as not nearly the competition that you have out there now. I mean, now you walk into any general big box grocery store and you might have half an aisle to a whole aisle of barbecue and grilling stuff, and it runs the gamut from sauces and rubs to injections and you name it. How do you make sure that you're able to separate yourself from what would be the noise otherwise?
Well, you really don't. It's kind of a gamble. I mean, I've been working on these. I mean, anytime you bring something new, it seems like it takes, a year to a year and a half just to get it to the point where you're able to sell it. And I've been working and developing and tweaking the recipe, trying to work on the label and all that. So it's kind of a labor of love, but there's no guarantee that it's going to sell. I'm kind of fortunate to where I've been using variations of these in my recipes for a while. I've just hadn't really named them. I've gave, recipes for, Cajun seasoning. I've gave recipes for jerk seasoning, different things that I've used along the way. But I think part of the brand brings, a little bit of notoriety to it too. People know that, they trust when they see something that I've, put out there that it's probably okay.
Do you think that we are in a state now where folks would rather, as you say, brand recognition with Malcom, and maybe they've tried some of your other rubs and they know how good they are, so you're going to get the benefit of the doubt on anything new? But do you also think that people aren't as anxious to just start messing around in the kitchen and make something up of their own? They'd rather just have it all done for them because it's simpler that way. Perhaps we should say lazily.
Well, I don't know if it's lazy. It's it's really expensive to go out and try to make your own rub for everything you do. I mean, I've spent years before I ever bottled mine, and that was one part of the reason why we started bottling, because we was buying so many ingredients. You have to buy stuff in bulk sizes, and then but before you know it, you spend $100 on seasonings, and you throw one rub together, and they sit in your pantry, and they just get old. So, but it's just so much easier to find one that you like and go out there and buy it. I mean, it's easy.
So maybe 10 years ago, you got into rubs and sauces. Not you, but I'm just using that as a general qualifier. You get into rubs and sauces to make some money. Is that a game you can still make money in, or is it a way to stay out in a different version brand-wise? Well,
rubs, I would say there's a lot of room. You've got a pretty good margin in rubs. I mean, I know there's a lot of them out there, but there's a pretty good sales margin in them. Sauces is tough because you're competing. There's not a lot of big bottles of rubs in the supermarket. If you go in there, you're going to pay about the same price everybody's charging for our 12-ounce bottle. You find smaller bottles, and those are still $6-7. So it's not like you can go out there and buy them. But salsas, you can find salsa on sale for $1.99 all the time.
Yeah,
I mean, it's hard to compete with those guys.
So from that part of your business, the Killer Hogs, so sauces and rubs, I mean, if you gross $1 million in sales, are you having like best year ever, or is that good? Like, what's a good year for you just on a gross number?
I mean, yeah, we always like to hit 1 million. I mean, I don't really have a target. We just try to grow every year. That's ours. We just try to keep our percentages up. Part of our business is retail, part of it's wholesale. So we kind of got two parts going. So, with both of them combined, we'd like to, get the sales up there.
We're talking with Malcom Reed, how to barbecue right, of course, and the pitmaster of Killer Hogs Barbecue. You can find him socially at How to BBQ Right, all mashed up in one word there, all over the place. Now, let me ask you quickly before we get into these recipes, are you watching any of this new barbecue television that's coming out? There was recently Barbecue Brawl on the Food Network, and now I believe it was Sunday, they just premiered Barbecue Beatdown with, some people that were on Barbecue Brawl, but they're now also on Barbecue Beatdown, but some new faces as well. You into any of that?
Yeah, I got to catch. I DVR everything. I don't get to watch much of it live. Uh-oh. I lost you, Greg.
No, I can hear you. We're good.
You can hear me? Well, I lost the video.
That's
but
right.
Yeah, so the Barbecue Brawl, I guess that's the one with Bobby and Michael Simon where Leanne won. I thought that was a good job. It's always fun because I know a lot of the people on that show just so to see how they do it. I mean, it's different than what we do because, it's TV, but a lot of it, you don't really know what's going on behind the scenes, but it's fun. And anytime, I've always say anytime that we can get barbecue in the spotlight, it's great for all of us.
Is that something that you would like to do if they would have approached you and said, hey, come out February in Austin and let's shoot this Barbecue Brawl? You'd be down for that, or is that not your cup of tea?
When it fits in my schedule, yeah, I'm down for doing things like that. I've done a few. I've never done any of the Pit Masters or any of those, but I've been asked. It's just never really fit in the schedule. And a lot of them, man, they require you to haul all your equipment somewhere across the country and spend a lot of time. And with me and Rochelle, it's hard for us to do that because we have to keep our stuff going to keep the lights on.
Malcolm Reed joining us here on the show. All right, Malcolm, so let's talk about two of the most recent recipes that I saw up on How to Barbecue Right. First, and that's more pressing for me, is this char siu pork. Tell me about char siu pork and what your interest was in trying to make a recipe.
So I love Asian food. And anytime, when we live a contest or something, we're sick of barbecue, we usually find ourselves going to get Asian food or Mexican food or something like that. And I like mixing some of those, ingredients in with the things that I do. So I had the idea, char siu is kind of Chinese style barbecue, a Chinese barbecue sauce. And so I decided I was going to do it with some center cut pork chops. And really, it's all just about the marinade or that char siu sauce. And that's where you get those Asian flavors. You can do it with any meat. I heard you mention when it was open and someone did it with chicken, and it would be great on chicken or wings or something like that. But it's all about, letting those Asian flavors, those fresh flavors, penetrate the meat, give it some color, and then just charring it over some coals is what I did. I mean, typically they roast in the oven, a little bit higher heat, still develops that sticky bark on it. And, you get all that caramelization on top, and it just really plays well with whatever protein you have it paired with.
So is that the key, is to get that good sauce and get that stickiness, as you put it, that really quantifies it as being fairly authentic?
For me, I think it is. Now, I've never had it like, at a real deal. I've had, char siu pork at a Chinese buffet restaurant. And we don't have a lot of great Asian restaurants where I live, but that was kind of my take on it. And of course, I watched some videos, did some research on how they do it. A lot of times it's done with a fattier cut, like pork belly or a butt that they've sliced up or cut chunks out of a pork roast. I think, the marinade's the key. No matter what you're doing, it's going to give it flavor as long as you keep slathering it on and grilling it and turning it. Somewhat, I did it indirect, kind of on a drum away from the coals. So it kind of slowly cooked and had time to really caramelize. But you could do it over hot coals. You just need to move it more often.
Yeah, and then you got to be careful that if you have that sauce on there, I would assume there's a fairly good sugar content. So if it's over the hot too long, you're going to start to char up pretty quick.
Oh yeah, this was one that if you're doing it direct heat, you need to keep an eye on it and stay with it because it can burn on you quick with all the sugar. Traditionally, I saw a lot of the char siu recipes. They just take straight honey and baste it with that as they go. And I just decided I was going to reserve some of that marinade, sweeten it up a little more, and then use that to keep those flavors going.
The next one was the spicy chicken sliders. I think probably sliders have been around forever, White Castle sliders, of course. But I've seen sliders take more of a role in just the culinary landscape here over the last 24 months or so. Everybody's making something a slider. I don't know if it's just because portion control or it's easier, that way if you don't like it, you don't have a big burger, you have a slider burger, whatever. But talk to me about spicy chicken and the recipe and what the motivation was for that one. Well,
that one was kind of twofold. I knew Labor Day was coming up, and a lot of people are going to be, it's kind of like the last big barbecue holiday of the season. And it's also ties in with football. So it kind of does double duty. That would be a great tailgate food, something to do, for you got people coming over and watching the games. And I did the sliders because it's just something you don't have to have a plate or, a lot of hands to eat it. You can pick them up off a tray, make them, grab them, and it's 2 or 3 bites and it's gone. So that was what I was thinking. And this was one that I kept really simple. I was just going for some pulled chicken. And so I cranked my pellet grill up to like 350 for this one to get the skin right on it, and then just seasoned it simple with a spicy barbecue rub. You could use whatever you want on there. And I cooked those chickens until they were done, like, 165 in the breast, 175 in the thigh, let them rest out and pulled them like pulled pork. And it makes a ton of meat. I mean, I think they were, 4.5, 5 pound birds that I bought at Kroger. And I just, made a big pan of pulled chicken. And then what set this one off, I think, is the spicy white barbecue sauce that I served over the top of them. And if you've never had a white barbecue sauce with chicken, I mean, that's something Chris Lilly made famous down in Alabama. And we kind of run with it when we do chicken now. And I just kicked it up with some extra white pepper and cayenne, a little more hot sauce, and some black pepper. And it's kind of creamy. So if you think about eating coleslaw with pulled pork or something like that, you get that creaminess, but it's cut with vinegar. It has a little lemon juice in it, and you get all that spice. So it's a really good sauce to slather over chicken or even pulled pork.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, you had mentioned pulled pork and eating it with coleslaw. I would imagine this would be a fairly quick adopt over to a pulled pork sandwich too.
Sure. I've even used that same kind of sauce for pizza sauce, doing a barbecue pizza. And it's a great substitute to get the tomato sauce out of there, or the barbecue sauce that a lot of people do. You can put that white sauce down. It gives a little creamy element, mixes well with the cheese, and then it goes with whatever toppings you like on your barbecue pizza.
Malcom, do you have a favorite brand of charcoal, or are you somebody that is, I don't know what the proper term is anymore, like an ambassador or a sponsor, or you just go out and buy your own stuff, or what do you like?
Well, I've been burning in comps. We've always burned Chef's. We started with Chef's Delight, which is a Royal Oak product. And then we've kind of transitioned over to the Chef's Select, which is has a little less wood in it, so it doesn't smoke as much, and it's a big briquette. So, I mean, I've always went with kind of what I had accessible to at either the grocery store or the big box store, and it's usually either Royal Oak or Kingsford, and I've just been a Royal Oak man. So recently I have started working with them, and I've been using Royal Oak in my videos a long time. I mean, I use some of the other stuff, some of the B&B products and things like that, and I've worked with some other guys, tried some of the Weber stuff, but it seems like I always go back to old-fashioned Royal Oak, and that's, a lot of people see me using that, and they can find it too. So that's something I just kind of stuck with. Is
it more from what you grew up with, or is it really just because it was available and you just picked that one and you just kind of know your way around it?
Well, I think it's just because what we grew up with. I mean, that product's been around since the 50s. I think Kingsford was probably the first charcoal ever bagged.
Sure.
And it's just something that's readily available. And I would bet that, a lot of the other brands that you even see in stores are offshoots of either Kingsford or Royal Oak. They do both companies do a lot of relabeling and make stuff for other people and things like that. So there's not a whole lot of charcoal manufacturers in the U.S.
All right, Malcom, you want to take some Facebook questions here before I let you go tonight?
Sure, man. I'm down.
All right. So I got one from Dan McMinn, and he was asking specifically about the Heart of Barbecue Right app. And he said, I can see a lot of his podcasts. There's like 5 recipes, but as you continue to scroll, it's kind of like the same thing over and over again. So what's the deal with the app?
We've got a brand new team working on that for us. The developer we can't get in touch with. So when they updated the iOS systems for both devices, it made our app crash. It's not doing what it's supposed to. So it's loading the latest thing we load, but it's not pulling all the stuff that we had. Man, I'm not the technical guy, Greg. I wouldn't have a clue how to build an app, but we are working on it. That's something we hope to have up just, as fast as those guys can get it built. And we're going to issue an update. And believe me, I'll put it out there when it's ready.
All right, so what's the win for you guys to have an app? Is it just another avenue in, or are you putting special things on the app that you wouldn't be able to get in other landscapes?
Well, we decided to do it because I was using my phone for when I jot down recipes and things like that, or go back and reference old stuff I've done. Everybody's mobile now, and so really it's just a simpler version without having to go through a browser to get to How to Barbecue Right. You can watch the latest, the videos there, and it's supposed to search and see all of them. You can get the podcast there, and then it's got some other features and stuff too. We're wanting to get it to where you can favorite stuff, or you can make your own personal comments if you're tweaking the recipes, and we're trying to just turn it into something that everybody can use and keep spreading the word of barbecue.
All right, next question is from Philip, and he asked if you're interested. I guess this would include your wife and your son Michael as well. If you're interested in adopting a bald, bearded dude asking for a friend. So you looking to adopt anybody?
I don't think so.
Of course not. It's ridiculous, Philip. Get out of here. Gary Depew wants to know when the moment was that you knew you had something special and needed to keep pursuing barbecue.
Man, it's just always been something that was fun to me. I mean, it never was really just an aha moment. I just kind of, we grew up doing it and learned as we went, and it's turned into what it is. It never was on purpose, and I don't think I've figured it out yet. We're still just learning as we go. So, if you got a passion for it, my whole thing is just do it, just stick with it, and and be dedicated. It started out as a hobby for me, and it's a full-time job. So if I can do it, anybody can.
Justin Leonard asked the next question, Malcolm, and he said, what's a must-see or must-do for someone visiting Memphis in May as a first-timer for a spectator on Friday?
Well, I guess the thing that culminates at the park would be the awards for Friday night's ancillaries. That you got to go see those. I would say, you got to walk around and see what's going on at some of the teams. Friday night, there's still a decent party. Most people are getting serious, but there's still some teams out there partying. There's a lot of great stuff you can get. Usually several grill manufacturers have tours going on. There's, the Kingsford tours going on down there. There's a lot of fun things. And if you venture out of the park, you got to go to Beale Street. I mean, there's, from the music to the barbecue to the atmosphere, it's just a huge, huge party. And it's a lot of fun at Memphis during that weekend. The whole month's fun downtown.
All right, next question is from Carl McBee, and he said, what's the number one mistake that you notice beginners make when doing competitions?
Man, I would say taking it too serious the first time. I mean, of course, you want to make sure you're concentrating and get all your items turned in, but you got to have fun with it. If you're taking it too serious, you're not going to have a good time. So I just say take back, relax, enjoy it, and do what you come to do and make some friends. That's what barbecue competition should be about.
All right, Keith McLean has this question, and he says, Malcolm, if you could only eat one barbecue dish for the rest of your life out of these options, which one would you choose? Texas-style sliced brisket, Kansas City burnt ends, Carolina pulled pork, or pork ribs any style?
Man, I'm a pork guy. I'm going pulled pork because I can do a lot with that Carolina pork.
Nice.
I know all kinds of stuff that I could live off of eating that. Now, Texas brisket's great.
Yep.
And I guess you could do some stuff with it, but I think pulled pork's more versatile.
All right, last question before I let you go, Malcolm, and I appreciate the time. J.A. DeLap, or DeLap, apologize if I'm not pronouncing that correctly. How many smokers do you currently have? Or like grills, cookers, cooking implements, how many do you got?
Last count, and I'm not certain it's not more, it was like 24.
24?
24.
Oh, wow. You're not getting any of the old, honey, you got to get rid of one before you bring a new one home? That's a lot.
Yeah, that's the thing now. So I kind of have to keep them stashed, Greg. I've got an office now, so I can bring some there. I've got a couple trailers out of the buddy's house, so he's got a garage, so I can kind of get away with staging them up, and then I move them out when Shell's not paying too much attention.
Nice, that's the way to go. Keep her in the dark. Don't say anything. Always beg for forgiveness instead of asking for permission.
You already know the deal.
Yeah,
man.
You're the man. So, do you find yourself going to one or two of those 24 more than the rest, like just naturally gravitating? Do you have a favorite?
I don't know if I have a favorite. They all have their purposes, and I try to work them all in. My thing's always been everybody out there's got a different kind of grill or their favorite or a take on what they think's better over the other. And the people that watch my stuff come from all over the place. So if I can show different ways to cook things on different grills, I think it's better for everybody. And I think it's more important about the technique or what you're doing than what you're cooking on. As long as you learn the grill that you have, that's fine. You can cook, as good on a drum as you can a big old hickory. So it's all about learning that pit.
All right, this is Malcolm Reed. You can find him at How to Barbecue Right. He's the pitmaster of Killer Hogs competition team, and you find him here on the first Tuesday of each and every month. Malcolm, always appreciate the time, my friend. Thanks so much.
Man, I enjoyed it always, Greg. We'll see you next month.
All right, looking forward to it. There he is, Malcolm Reed. I'm not sure what happened to my video there, but that's all right. As long as he can hear. I mean, you don't need to see me, right? Who wants to see me? Come on now. Glad the audio still works. I'm not sure what. I've had a couple people tell me that for whatever reason the video doesn't seem to be. Yeah, see? Yeah, for some reason in that first interview segment, my Skype goes nutso, but it doesn't disconnect, thank God. I mean, if it disconnected, I mean, you would be seeing a whole different Greg Rempe, that's for sure. And it would include a lot of screaming and yelling and hijinks. But it doesn't crash, so you can see the video, I can hear him, he can hear me. It's fine, no problem. I thought my 9 cookers was a lot. 24 cookers, wow. I'm also going to go out on a limb and say his wife, Rochelle, does not listen to the show. Otherwise, bad news, Malcolm, you just gave yourself up. All right, we got an open segment coming up, so if you want to jump in, more than happy to have you. Phone call, email, however you like it, 216-220-0966. Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. Coming up in about 2 weeks, that's right, September 21st, that's a Saturday, all day long, starting at 10 a.m., going till at least 4 p.m. I will be hosting or emceeing the Hartville Hardware 2019 Grillfest. Now, what is Grillfest? Glad you asked. There's going to be a ribs competition that you may or may not be able to still enter. I believe it's spare ribs this time. I took part all the way back in 2016 when we did baby back ribs, and I was like finishing middle of the field. So there's that competition, which you, as a spectator, you can't eat, but they're going to be making food otherwise that you're going to be able to try. They also have live demonstrations to include Lisa Delgado, who is a local Cleveland chef, and she cooks for a lot of rich people and some Cleveland Browns and stuff. She's going to be demonstrating on the Big Green Egg. Still no word on who the Weber representative will be, but there will be somebody there that I'll be interacting with. And, of course, our second hour guest, Diva Q, Danielle Bennett, will be doing her demos on the Traeger. So if you missed her in 2017, you can grab a look and see what she's up to here in 2019. Again, it's Hartville, Ohio, September 21st, all day long. I'll be there probably around 9 o'clock, just perusing, saying hi to people. And then at 10 o'clock, it all kicks off. They have a huge burn area. They got a lot of grills and accessories that you can buy on site. I will happily take pictures. I'm not anticipating signing any autographs because you can take a picture because it lasts longer. And again, me and Diva, sales enough. Come on, get on out here. Say hi. We'd love to see you. September 21st, 2019. Open segment coming up. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Continuing to produce incredibly mediocre content in an exceptionally professional way. You're listening and watching the BBQ Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
Hey, all right, this portion of the show being brought to you by cookingpellets.com, your number one source for quality wood pellets for all your pellet-driven cookers. Just visit cookingpellets.com for more information or to purchase. You can also visit amazon.com to purchase as well. A lot of great flavors, good quantity. Some of them are 100% flavor wood, like the hickory. So know what you're getting into. That's cookingpellets.com, C-O-O-K-I-N, cookingpellets.com. All right, so here's your open segment. If you want to get in touch with the show,
You can get in touch with the show by calling 216-220-0966. Email Greg at the BBQcentralshow.com. On the Twitter and Instagrams at BBQ Central Show.
all right, so first and foremost, mean, again, I want to thank Steve Ray and the gang for helping me out last week. Well, the gang, I say that's the embedded correspondents that ran second hour in their normal slot. By the way, it's not like they came out of the woodwork and helped it all over. But Steve Ray helped out hosting the show all the way through those 2 hours. So not only was he an embedded correspondent in the second hour, but he was also playing moderator as I would, and then hosted the show in the first hour where he interviewed Matt Frampton and Leanne Whippen. So if you missed that show, or you knew I was going to be out of pocket and you didn't want to listen to anybody else hosting my show, certainly your prerogative. I will sit here and tell you that it's well worth going back and checking it out in download fashion, or hit up Facebook or YouTube, watch the video if you want to. Steve has his own setup in his house, all new studio, not the finely paneled woodwork like you see in the back of mine. He's got a way more extensive setup in his house, so check it out. Or check out the audio and check out the video and see which one you like more. I always like listening back to my show only on the audio. I don't like watching it at all. I would still love to somehow be able to pull back the video feature altogether and just make it audio only. But the show has now grown into a video portion, and I think there is an expectation of that. And as much as I hate it, I will continue to live with it because I did try to pull that back a little bit, and it didn't go very well. So I want to make sure that I'm at least showing an effort of trying to make people appear that I care, if you will. But when I listen to the show back, it's always audio only because I want to have that mental theater with myself, even though I know how it looks. And then if I want to go back and see how it looks, certainly I can go back to the video archive. But for me, it's only the audio when I listen back. So listen back to it audio from last week, Steve. See how he interacts with Leanne Whippen, the master of Q or expert of Q or whatever title she won. And then listen to him talk with Matt Frampton. I mean, Matt Frampton is just a wealth of pizza information. And who would have thought that, 10 or 11 years ago, he would have first shown up on this show as part of Hot Grill on Grill Action, which happens to be still one of the best barbecue names ever. And tossing around a thing called the flabongo. I mean, who knows what that's all about. Penning the 12 Days of Barbecue Christmas with Logan Hendrickson, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe it was somebody else. But has transformed himself not only into a live fire, very competent cook, a competition cook from a barbecue side, but pizza expert, Matt Frampton. I mean, this guy is really into, as much as I'm into talk show barbecue, he's into high heat pizza. Dough recipes, suggestions, tips, tricks, experience on different cookers. He is a endless wealth of information. So go back and re-listen if you missed it or you're just hearing about it now. And plus, it's Steve hosting. And as I had said, he hosts his own show on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. right there on the Facebook's The Owl's Nest Barbecue Show. So like his page and get alerted when he goes live tomorrow at 1900 Eastern. Popeyes chicken. Here we go. The Popeyes chicken sando epidemic of 2019. It is growing. It is perhaps widely out of hand at this point. This, by the way, if you're keeping track, is the food event of the year. It is by far the best marketing job that has been done in 2019, better than the usual run-of-the-mill crap, better than Traeger running their tastes like ass campaign, which Meathead hated, by the way. Better than all that stuff, okay? Popeyes wins the marketing game this year. It's not even close. There's still 4 months left in 2019, and barring a marketing miracle, nobody is even going to come close to Popeyes chicken sando epidemic of 2019. That's what I'm terming it. Much like Hurricane Darian is racing up the Florida coast, and we have well wishes to everybody that may or even may not be affected to that. At least it bumped out a little bit west, I guess. That's good. The volleyball trip to Daytona this coming week, that didn't work out too well. That was canceled Sunday. Better to be safe than sorry. So we moved from Daytona to Big Rapids, Michigan. Talk about north and south. Ugh. So we'll be going to Ferris State instead of Daytona Beach for this volleyball this coming week. Nevertheless, thoughts and prayers to Dorian and anybody that's going to be affected there. I mean, take cover, right? But it's not even close what Popeyes is doing. And while I have made a practice of not watching any news whatsoever, I could be the most out of touch on current events person that you might talk to on a daily basis. I don't watch the news. I just don't watch it. I don't have time for it. I have a pretty good idea of what it's going to sound like depending on what news I'm watching. So I would just prefer to go through life blind and with my head in the sand as it comes to current events. Every once in a while I get a tidbit like the hurricane deal, but that was affecting my travel. So because I am solely involved in myself, that's why I knew about it until somebody did tell. I didn't know that there was a hurricane coming, by the way. Somebody told me about it. I was like, well, what about that hurricane? I was like, what hurricane? Oh, the biggest one ever coming through the Bahamas and battering the Bahamas? Yeah. I didn't know about that until somebody told me about it. The Popeyes chicken sandwich is something that I kind of heard about, and I heard about it selling out, and maybe I saw some posts about it on Facebook here and there, but I wasn't really finger pulsing it too much. And then these two events hit less than a week apart. And I preface this just a tad because, you know, still I'm a little unsure as to what happens. But on August 29th, this story broke out of the Chattanooga Times Free Press. And the headline was Chattanooga man sues Popeyes for running out of popular chicken sandwich. Oh, come on. Ow. You know, of course I'm running an ad blocker. Of course. I'm seeing your stupid ads, but now you've made terroristic threats that I won't be able to read this story unless I turned it off. All right. So a Chattanooga man is suing a fast food restaurant known as Popeyes for running out of its popular chicken sandwiches. Craig Barr, who may or may not be showing up at the top of the second hour, I'm going to go with not. His suit accuses the company of false advertising, deceptive business practices, and causing him to waste, quote unquote, countless time driving to and from local chains to find the Sando. Barr of Eastridge also claims he was hustled out of $25 by a man who posted a Craigslist ad claiming a what? A Craigslist ad claiming he could get sandwiches. A restaurant was hiding in the back. He suffered rim and tire damage while driving from location to location. He was humiliated when his friends laughed at him. I can't get happy. I have this sandwich on my mind. I can't think straight. He told the Free Times Press on Thursday, it just consumes you. The sandwich became an unexpected online sensation over the weekend, that was last weekend, resulting in long lines and sandwich shortages. Signs began popping up on drive-through speakers and restaurant doorways alerting customers that the restaurants had run out of sandwiches due to unexpected high volumes. Apex Marketing Group estimated the online buzz was worth $65 million in marketing for the Miami-based company. Barr, who owns a company in the automobile industry, claims Popeyes purposefully overhyped the sandwich and under-delivered quantity to increase popularity and garner attention. And to quote, it totally was deceptive. Who runs out of chicken? It's a big fiasco. Someone has to stand up to big corporate chicken. Everyone is captivated by these Sandos. They've got everyone gassed up on them. Close quote. Popeyes has not returned a request for comment. The sandwiches are available in select stores until August 12th. Of course, that time has passed. They gained widespread popularity on the Twitter August 19th when the company's account feuded with Wendy's and Chick-fil-A over who had the best sandwich. Barr has since been making regular trips to Popeyes locations on Broad Street, Highway 58, Brainerd Road, the list goes on. He's been driving from one location to the next, allegedly being told by employees that they're sold out and they should find another store. While traveling to the Highway 58 location, the tire on his car blew and he cracked a $1,500 wheel. He fixed the tire and went to get his sandwich, only to be told he'd have to come back after the weekend because the sandwiches had sold out. No! Barr met with a man behind a restaurant on Monday, handing him $25, $5 for the sandwich, $20 for the troubles. The man allegedly went into the store and never came back. Barr went inside after realizing what happened. An employee said a man matching his description bought something and then left out the front door. Mr. Barr, you are not going to get that sandwich.
Andrew, you are not the father.
That's right. Hear that guy screaming in the background? That's the guy that took Barr's $25. Unbelievable. That's only the first part. Then, I think it was yesterday, this happened, continuing to fuel this weirdness. Angry customer pulls gun over sold out Popeyes chicken sandwiches. In Houston, an armed group of people rushed the door of a Popeyes chicken restaurant in Southeast Houston Monday, demanding chicken sandos. Houston police were called to the restaurant on Scott Street just after 9. Employees told ABC 13 a mob of 2 men, 3 women, and a baby were told at the drive-thru that the chicken sandwiches were sold out. They apparently triggered what would be customer rage. That's when police said they tried to get inside the restaurant. One man had a gun, but restaurant workers were able to lock all of them out. All the while, the group left the baby inside their vehicle. It was more of an aggravated assault because he was displaying a weapon and threatening employees. Guys, gals, other than being rope-a-doped by Popeye's great marketing job, what the hell are you people doing? It's a fast food chicken sandwich. I mean, really, how good is this fast food chicken sandwich going to be? Is it going to be life-changing? No. Is it going to give you that physical, visceral reaction that you need to have happen in order for you to legitimize this sandwich in your mind as being the best chicken sandwich you has ever freaking had in your life? Is this sandwich even remotely going to approach the fried chicken sandwich that you can get down on West 29th Street at Larder Delicatessen? Hell to the no.
Get that big stuff out of here.
It's a fast food chicken sandwich. I hate to break it to you, but Chick-fil-A sandwiches are good, but they're not great. And so's McDonald's chicken sandwiches. So's Burger King's chicken sandwiches. And I'm sure so's this Popeye's freaking chicken sandwich. So's Cane's fried chicken. So's KFC's fried. It's all just good. It's not great. Quit falling for this. And stop pulling guns on fast food employees who tell you they're out of chicken sandwiches when they're out of chicken sandwiches. That's it. Don't do it anymore. Now I've gone long. Again, how good could it be? Not that good. And now I got a race to catch up. Stick around.
Big name interviews, advice on cooking brisket and ribs, and the only host willing to share his honest opinion on all things important in the world of barbecue. It's the Barbecue Central Show.
Okay. This portion of the show being brought to you by Fireboard. Monitor up to 6 different temperatures simultaneously. Connect to Wi-Fi for cloud-based monitoring, or connect via Bluetooth. If you have Alexa or the Google Assistant, you're in luck because Fireboard is fully integrated with both. Find out more by visiting fireboard.com or call 816-945-2232. And by the Barbecue Guru, makers of automatic pit temperature control technology. If you are into auto pit temperature control or grills or both, thebbqguru.com. That's bbqguru.com. If you have any questions, call them. They'll make sure you're outfitted with exactly what you need to get you up and running right out of the box. All right, we are now caught back up. We are pointing to the second hour. Your phone calls are still invited. And will we get a visit from Craig Barr, Mr. Chicken Sando guy from Popeyes? All will be revealed here in the next few minutes, and maybe my lips will start working. Stick around. I'll be right back.
This is Jimmy Burns from Malvern, Ohio, and you're listening to BBQ Central.
Happy to have you aboard here for the really big barbecue show.
Boing.
We cook because we have to, and we grill because we want to.
Hit me!
Fine, how's it going?
You have a great show. I'm a big fan.
Boing.
So what seems to be the problem here? This man looks like he's dead, and he's in the crackle.
Charbono! It's all about the charbono, dude!
Succulent fish. What?
He ate Finkies or Wiener.
Oh, listen, Liberty, shut your face.
I'm shaking like a dog shit peach seeds.
We have top men working on it right now. Top men.
All right, just like that, we are into the second hour. Welcome. If you are not familiar, this is the Barbecue Central Show. We talk about barbecue and grilling stuff here. Did I just overshoot that? I did. Sorry. Let me turn that around. All right. We talk about barbecue and grilling stuff here. It happens live every Tuesday from 9 to 11 p.m. Eastern. It's also being recorded at the same time, so technically this is a live show, but is also being recorded to be sent up in podcast after the fact in case you miss it, which I hope you don't, but if you're a regular podcast listener, I hope that you have carved out at least some time on a Tuesday during your listenership where you have tried to take in the show live. I mean, this is fun, right? The open segments, who knows what's going to happen. I have a in-depth take on Popeyes chicken sandwiches and how good could they really be, and are you falling victim to internet hype? And it appears that a lot of you are, so much so that you're pulling weapons on each other. Not on each other, but you're pulling weapons on fast food workers. I mean, my kid was a fast food worker, so in essence, you're pulling a gun on my kid because you want a Popeyes chicken sandwich that bad. Like, what's in that sandwich that you need to have that bad? Are you thinking about it? Are you like Craig Barr? And you just can't stop thinking about it no matter what? It must be. It must be. By the way, I can confirm, as luck doesn't have it, we will not be having a conversation with said Craig Barr. That is not happening tonight. Now, I can tell you that I have booked a lot of people on this show. A lot of people. 12 and 13 and 14 years as we look down the whole deal, right? It's a long, tedious task sometimes. Sometimes you realize that you're going to be going after somebody and it's going to be tough. But the payoff might be there, or it's a guest that everybody wants to listen to, so you put in the work, you put in the effort. I can tell you what, the first conversations through text message that I had with this guy, I knew that we were on straight up kook alert. Straight up kook alert. I sent him a message, introduced myself, told him about the show, told him he was probably getting a lot of heat from other places. This was a safe haven, really worked the soft pillow landing type of situation. And the first text I got back from him, and I quote, was, "I'm getting hounded. I haven't committed yet, but okay, you are," like the letters, "you are in but Tuesday, though. About Tuesday, though." So then I gave him a little info on the show and followed back up with him on a Saturday around noon. He was wavering again. And a quote, "I don't know. I've been getting death threats, harassed on Facebook, calls. I don't need any more bullying." I reassured him immediately after that I would not threaten him or threaten to kill him, and I promised, so good on me. That was the last I heard of him, noon on Saturday. Sunday, as I'm giving you the timeline, I followed up with him right around noon, so let a day go. And I said, "Hey, I heard my pal," because now I got Steve Ray working in conjunction with me because, Steve is the unofficial mayor of Chattanooga as well as Ooltewah, and said, I understand you've been talking to Steve, and I'm talking with you, and, can we commit for a 10 p.m. Eastern? Can we do that? And he rifled back with, "What kind of show is it?" So I then restated, "Hey, it's a barbecue and grilling show. It's food topic. But we cover everything." And he said, "Before I filed, I called Popeyes to bitch. Not one natural person cared to call and even gave me a hollow apology. The suit isn't about my feelings or short supply. I cracked a rare Mercedes Carlson wheel and sliced a $400 tire. Driving to a Popeyes that an employee told me they had the goods." So then I replied, "So it's a small claims court file for the damage to your tire and wheel." And he said, "I don't even care about the hood rat that got the $25 out of me. I got people I never know or met threatening me. Hey, that's what the suit's about. Upon you." This is him, by the way. I'm reading word for word. "Hey, that's what the suit is about and filed upon, you jerk off. WTF you think I did? Honestly, I don't even like chicken all that much. You just pissed me off." That has been the final communication. That was Sunday afternoon. Sunday evening, I followed back up. Earlier this morning, I followed back up with no communications. And that was the string of emails that I got from that guy. And it was, right? It's par for the course, right? You're kind of lining up an interview that may or may not happen. It certainly did not happen. But that is the long and the long of it. It was worth potentially doing it. This is the kind of guy we're dealing with. I don't know how old he is. He's driving on really expensive rims, chasing down $5 Popeyes chicken sandwiches, and he's not showing up on this show to talk about it. This would have been the best thing he could have done, was show up on this show and talk about how he's racing around trying to find Popeyes chicken sandwiches and how people are jacking him left and right and rolling with the punches. Who's giving this guy death threats for what? Do you think Popeyes is even spending 1 second considering this guy's lawsuit? All they would have to do is pony up a singular chicken sandwich that magically appears out of thin air and give it to this guy, and he's going to be like, "Lottery won. Thank you. Let's drop that suit. I have the chicken sandwich." Ultimately, he's going to be disappointed, right, in taste? Come on. What are you talking about? Craig, you made a mistake by not coming on this show. You did. I'm telling you, you made a mistake. I'm sorry for you. I was professional. You're a kook and didn't show up on my show.
Get that big stuff out of here.
You cracked a $1,500 wheel chasing down a Popeyes chicken sandwich. It's a $5 sandwich, and the guy took an additional $20 off your hands, bought something that wasn't a chicken sandwich, and then left out the front door, leaving you in the back sucking hind tit. Great. Unbelievable. Can you imagine this guy sitting in the back of a Popeyes like, best $20 I ever spent? I'm going to give you $5. I mean, it's not $20 and like take the chicken cost out of the 20 I'm giving you and keep 15. The chicken sandwich is $5 and you're going to get an additional 20. So that guy's netting $20, regardless if he would have been a stand-up guy, not a hood rat, as Craig explains. And giving him his chicken sandwich, net 20. I just would have took the 25 and left. I mean, there's not anything on a Popeyes chicken sandwich where if I'm going to jack a guy for $25 that I'm even going to bother sticking around for. I'm just going to get into the car up front and leave. And why are you buying, as Kinger says in chat, why would you be even willing to risk buying something black market? Is that really going to be a Popeyes chicken sandwich? Probably not. Is it worth the $25 that's probably going to give you food poisoning? Probably not. Craig, you are a beauty. The invitation stands next week, week after. I will cancel anybody who is in. If Meathead's on next week and you want to come in at 9:14, Meathead out of here, you're in. I still want to do it. I know you don't want to do it. You've made a terrible mistake by not coming on right now, but we can rectify this. We will talk about how the suit really isn't about the rim and the wheel or the rim and the tires you said it is, because you said the chicken sandwich is on your mind and you can't get good. That someone has to make a stand against Big Chicken. And it's you. Live that. Own that. Be the stand against Big Chicken. Somebody has to. We can't be running out of Popeyes chicken sandos. I can't believe Popeyes took up 2 segments. And I could still roll. I'm now reining myself back. Although I know I'm going to be talking to Diva Q about it in about 2 minutes. Unbelievable. All right, folks, let me talk to you quickly about Sterling Ball and the gang over at Big Papa Smokers, the one-stop online shop for all things barbecue. Big Papa is known for the championship rubs and seasonings, 13 perfectly balanced flavors like Sweet Money, Cattle Prod, Cash Cow, Little Louie's Seasoned Salt. Oh, that's my favorite. Pick up a bottle today, BigPapaSmokers.com. Now, if you want to improve your competition recipes, hook up with some Simply Marvelous barbecue rubs. That's the West Coast offense. When you put when you put the Big Papa rubs and the Simply Marvelous rubs together, renting all the time. Plus, Granny's barbecue sauce. Have you tried it yet? Come on, let's get it. Granny's barbecue sauce will help you fall in love with barbecue all over again. It's a great sauce. They got great cookers as well. Mac 2-Star General Pellet Grill, the only online dealer. That's Big Papa Smokers. They can offer you special packages that nobody else can. They also have the Old Hickory Ace BP Pit. If you're not sure of what cooker you need, go to BigPapaSmokers.com and peruse the inventory. If you have any questions, call them 877-828-0727. That's 877-828-0727, or shop the website, BigPapaSmokers.com. That's BigPapaSmokers.com. Danielle Bennett coming up out of the break. Stick around, be right back.
The only show giving you a monthly visit from a doctor of barbecue, a man actually named Meathead, the author of a barbecue Bible, bloggers, reviewers, competitors, and manufacturers by the dozens. It's the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
Hey, this portion of the show being brought to you by Veterans Q. Currently have 2 sauces, original and sweet, and 2 rubs, chicken and pork and beef on the market. All products are great. I've tested them all. Take it from me. 100% of the profits, by the way, donated to credible veterans organizations. Use code BBQ20 for 20% off your entire order. That's BBQ20 when you visit Veterans Q, VETERANSQ.com. 20% off. BBQ20, yeah. All right, my guest in the second hour has been a host of her own barbecue television show. She has also been a competitor on TV show. She's a competition barbecue cook, successful cookbook author, and the list extends from there. Currently, you can see her on the Food Network and the Cooking Channel, as she is one of the 3 pitmasters featured on the new Barbecue Beatdown show, which aired this past Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern. Here to talk about it and many other things is the creator of the Diva Q brand and longtime friend of this show. We head to the Fogo Charcoal Hotline and welcome back friend of the show, Danielle Bennett. Dee, what's up?
Hey, good. Everything's awesome.
So
I guess that's the best way to put it.
Where are you in this worldwide country of ours right now?
Well, right now I'm actually in the country, which is a nice change. I'm actually at a dinner party with my friends in Houston, all barbecuers. There's 14 of us at dinner, and I just stepped out to take this because you and I booked this so long ago, and I said for sure I would never cancel on you. So I just literally stepped out away from my bourbon to come and talk to you, Greg.
Well, Danielle, I mean, the honors are supremely high that you would do that. So I'm certainly not going to extend the time that I thought we were going to do because I'm not going to take you away from these. Is there anybody you want to name drop, by the way?
Oh, of course. I've got to name drop, Aaron Malekian, Chef Aaron Malekian. I've got to name drop Rogel's Barbecue because they're who I'm here with. I've got to name drop, of course, Packy Saunders, of course, Simon and his beautiful wife, Isabel. Yes. And, I'm so lucky that Andrea and her husband, Joe, could come. One of the great things is then I had a friend that drove 3.5 hours to come have dinner with us tonight, Jay McBride. Wow. I'm so blessed to have so many amazing barbecue family everywhere in the world. I'm totally blessed.
Danielle, I mean, you're away from it, but make your home in Florida. I mean, from a hurricane standpoint, everything good over there at the home base?
Well, that's actually why I'm here in Houston early is because originally when we saw the storm fronts coming through and it started, increasing, I have an event here on Thursday with in Austin, actually, for Duluth. And so I ended up coming in a couple of days early to hang with some friends here in Houston to make the best of the situation. My house is completely secure. Everything's battened down. The winds are starting to pick up. I'm getting hourly updates from my house and, praying that nobody gets hurt through all of the states. That's all we can all pray for.
Danielle, are you a believer in hunker down or are you a believer in if they tell you to get out, get out?
I think there's a reason they tell you to get out. Get your ass out. Get safe. I mean, here's the thing. A house can be replaced. You can't be. Stuff can get replaced. You can't be. My family and my friends are much more important than any house or, piece of equipment or anything else. Get the hell out if they tell you.
All right, we're talking with Diva Q here on the show. Happy to have her back. And let's go ahead and start with a little TV show talk here this evening. Obviously, the premiere was Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern on Food Network, so a huge channel to be a part of for sure. Talk to us a little bit about the show and how it kind of the genesis started and how you were approached to be a part.
Well, this actually started a while back. I've turned down the last, 4 or 5 projects on TV. I just wasn't interested. In all honesty, I just really had no interest in being back on TV. I'm happy with what I'm doing. I'm happy with the way my career is unfolding. And I turned them all down. And then they proposed this show to me, and I like the format a lot. I've been doing this 13 years. I'm an OG now at this point, an original. And so one of the things is that the show's format really showcases people that actually have a level of skill set. And then, it's almost like an Iron Chef kind of situation where, I don't really have a lot to prove anymore. I mean, I'm still learning and you're still growing every day because you never stop learning. But at the end of the day, if somebody wants to challenge me, I want to take them on. And that's what was really attractive to me.
When you look at, is that the biggest differentiator from, whether it's a Chopped Grill Master thing or, a week or two prior to your show coming out, there was the barbecue brawl thing. Is that the biggest differentiator in your opinion? It's let's call it a barbecue Iron Chef concept to a high level?
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agreed to do it because of that. I've worked really hard to hone my craft, as do most other barbecuers. And to get the opportunity to showcase them is a big part of it for me. There's not much I can't cook out there. And every time you go out and you cook something, you can learn a little bit more about it. Or, in my case, I've traveled the world now learning about barbecue, and I'm not ever going to stop that. But I love the fact that we could actually consider ourselves definitely a really good level of pitmasters. You know, that's what we are.
When you are being told about the show, I mean, how much detail are they giving you? Do they tell you who the other two, pit masters are going to be? They're going to be, working alongside of you? Or are they kind of keeping you in the dark a little bit on some things and just looking to get you in? What's that setup like?
Well, originally you get the format and you say, okay, so the format is something I'm interested in. And then the secondary part, of course, is who are you going to be with, okay? Because if it's somebody you genuinely dislike or you don't get along with or whatnot, then you're not going to mesh well. It's not going to have a vibe, right? Any TV show has to have a vibe and it has to have something, or it actually has to have a lot of drama. I'm not out about the drama stuff, okay? That's bullshit, and I am not interested in it whatsoever. So this is one that, I've known Kerry for many, many years. He was actually on my own show on Barbecue Crawl. I respect his skill set immensely. I've eaten at his restaurant tons of times. Mo is this big barbecue personality, and, he's done very well with himself with his barbecue personality. And so I liked the characters. I liked who was going to be on the show. So because of that, in addition to the format, that's why I agreed to it.
Do you think Mo gets the respect he deserves, or does he get the right amount of respect? Because I get, I feel like some people are a champion of him, and then I feel like some people think that maybe he hasn't done whatever enough is in order to get these shots on TV.
Well, I think you can ask that of any pitmaster, right? Who is there to decide what is enough? I've only won 15 U.S. Grand Championships. That's it. But if you put anything in front of me, I can cook it. I've owned 65 barbecues. Maybe that's not enough. I've traveled the world. Maybe that's not enough. I don't know. At the end of the day, if it fits for the show, then I'm good for it.
All right, so as we are taking in that first episode, I mean, I would assume like most TV stuff, you're seeing the finished cut for the first time, or did you guys have access to it in advance?
I didn't want to see it in advance. I saw it when you guys saw it.
All right, so what was your kind of first smack of how you saw the first episode unfold? Are you pretty happy with it?
Well, I've done TV so much now on so many different programs that I thought this one was actually exceptionally well edited, in all honesty. I thought the lighting was really good, too. A lot of times when it comes to barbecue shows, one of the challenges of actually shooting barbecue shows is actually the lighting. It's really a challenge to shoot barbecue as a whole because most of the meats are mahogany, dark red colored. Mm-hmm. Most of the pits are dark colored. So I thought the lighting and the editing was really well. I thought the show flowed really well in regards to making sense. All the dots seem to connect for me, and I'm super uber critical when it comes to any of this kind of stuff. I really thought it flowed well. I thought it connected the dots for the viewer. At the end of the day, I thought it was a really successful show.
How many episodes are going to be because I was looking for like when the next show was going to be, and it didn't seem like there was anything that had been solidly put up on the Food Network website yet.
Right now, I can tell you they're deciding it right now. Oh. So I can't answer that. That would be up to Simple Alien, which is the production company, and the Food Network themselves.
So could it just be a one-off show Sunday?
Yeah, it could be potentially. You never know, because one of the things about programming and slotting time slots is that you could still make a good show and it may not fit a time slot, or you can make a great show and the advertorial dollars might not be there. So at this point, you'd have to ask those questions from Food Network or Simple Alien.
All right, so well, then let me ask you another question that you're probably not going to be able to answer because I'll just ask it anyway. I mean, were there multiple episodes shot, or did you just shoot that one and that was it?
We shot one.
Wow.
The one you guys got to see. Yep. And it, it's like I said, it's going to air again tomorrow on the Cooking Channel.
Yep.
And so we're going to get to see it again on the Cooking Channel. I know it's been well received, and that's all I know right now.
All right, we're talking with Danielle Bennett, Diva Q, and are you still divaq.ca, or did you change any of that?
Well, if that idiot that owns .com, and I hope you're listening, could stop selling your stupid ass automotive products, I'd love to buy divaq.com. I've been trying for 10 years now to buy it.
Really?
In fact, we're actually, I have trademark lawyers, and we actually are probably going to go forward with a trademark infringement case at this point. And so I am still .ca, even though, next year I'll be an American citizen. So I'm still working on it. I've got lots of trademarks out, and, unfortunately, this person that's over in China is causing me great chaos. How about that?
Are they looking to, I mean, are they saying, well, you can have it if you buy it for X amount, or are they not even willing to like negotiate?
They're not even willing to negotiate.
Really?
You know, I've got banks to pay for it, and you know, we kind of set it aside a couple years ago.
Yeah.
As a planned future growth.
Sure.
Of course, you know, I own like, I don't know, 40 other websites as well, different, you know, companies and businesses and things like that. But yeah, I'd really love to own BBQ.com. I would love to own it. But at the end of the day, here's the thing. What do we always do? We all go to Google, we type in Diva Q, or we type in Greg Rempe, and you know what? It comes up without any hesitation. So I'm really, you know what? It is what it is. I can't change it.
All right, DVQ.ca for now, but we'll see how that progresses. So let's talk a little bit high level on barbecue television. I think, you know, we've talked or waxed poetically over the last couple of years where Barbecue Pitmasters, the show, and so let's call that the, you know, the Harry Sue, you know, one where it was more kind of like real reality television where they followed a bunch of teams around. That morphed into, you know, another season of Pitmasters, which looked drastically different, and then so on and so on. So there was that golden era of new barbecue show television on the TV. A lot of people that I had talked to subsequently on this show said, hey, I was sparked in some form or fashion by watching a Barbecue Pitmasters show. And maybe we're off of that Pitmasters flow. So should we be looking for another barbecue TV show to continue or revive that spark? Should we be away from that and just looking at something completely different? What do you think?
I think none of that matters. You know what matters in TV? Money. What matters in TV is advertorial dollars. Nothing else matters. And if people are looking for that, you know, genuine barbecue content or that type of format, it really does only come down to dollars. And I think a lot of people don't realize that. It doesn't matter if you have a horribly written show. It doesn't matter if you have a horribly scripted show. What matters is if XYZ Corporation is willing to give the network that it's being played on so many dollars, that's what matters. And so you're hopefully, you know, I'm proud of the show we did. I'm really, truly, genuinely proud of Barbecue Beatdown. I thought it was really well done. Whether it gets the, you know, more play or there's another type of program out there, you know, I hope so, but it really doesn't come down to the content. It comes down to the advertorial dollars. You know, the entire landscape of TV and viewership is changing, as we know. You know, we've got Hulu and we've got Netflix and we've got every other, you know, on-demand service and program. So the general advertorial programs that went in the format of TV, like the prior episodes of Pitmasters and things like that, that's all changing. All of TV landscape is changing to suit this on-demand need that we all have, this impatient, okay, I only want to watch 22 minutes, I only want to watch 24 minutes, and what advertorial dollars are going to pay for that. So I don't know if there's an easy answer to that question, Greg, but I'll tell you right now, I've done this long enough to know you can make the best program in the world. You can make a program that's gone to many, many countries, and it will not get picked up if it's not enough advertorial dollars. That's all that matters.
Do you think
that's what it comes down to? It comes down to money.
Do you think also that maybe because of, I'm going to use YouTube as an example, that, you know, I can make, you know, let's say I have a pretty decent personality. I know somebody that can edit really well. I get that good lighting like you were talking about. And maybe I'm not as motivated to get on television when I have access or I can feed a niche through YouTube like, you know, Pit Boys had done for many years. But now more and more, I mean, people are picking up cameras, Danielle, and talking about their life for 15 minutes, their boring, pathetic life for 15 minutes a day, and they upload it, and they have 3 and 4 and 5 million viewers, and they're making a shit ton of money, and it boggles my mind because I could never do that. But there are so many other outlets out there right now that tradition maybe is not the norm anymore.
It isn't the norm anymore. That's why you have people that are experienced pitmasters going up against an insta-famous person who doesn't know squat about cooking. I mean, squat, okay? Literally goes online, steals a recipe, posts it on YouTube, posts it on Instagram, posts it on, you know, TikTok, or posts it on Snapchat. All of a sudden, they have a 4 million person viewership those companies, once again, are coming in and saying, well, you have 4 million people watching this.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't care if your content's valid. We don't care if it's real. We don't care about any of those things. But here, we're going to give you a check for $25,000 for a 15-second spot because your viewership warrants that money. It's a challenging time to go forward if you are an authentic person with integrity sometimes. It really is. Because at the end of the day, there are so many Insta-famous people out there getting paid for nothing.
Yeah.
Exactly what you said.
What's going on with Duluth? What are you up to?
Oh, you know what? I'm a woman of Duluth. I agreed to work with them. I really like the brand. I wear their clothing regularly. I'm a big fan. One of the things for me is that I turn down more companies than I take. I'm really careful about who I associate my name with. I'm one of those integrity field people. I'm good with that. Monetarily, it's cost me over the last few years, and I'm actually still okay with that because I only work with brands I truly believe in. So for Duluth, I am one of their pit masters and addition, a woman of Duluth, and so I'm one of their brand spokespeople. Yep. And I'm enjoying the relationship immensely.
So what do you like? What gets your goat about Duluth brand clothes versus whatever the competing brand would be? What do you like best about it?
I really think they're really well made. I think they stand behind their clothes. All the men that I know wear their underwear. They love their jeans. I just think that it's a quality product by a quality company. And I really like the people that I work with. It's the same with Traeger. I really respect the people I work with. I respect how they run their businesses, how they treat people, and that's important to me. I think it's important I still have morals and values and integrity.
So are you committed to Duluth to do so many, are you doing like store openings, or will they just have you down to, cook some stuff and bring, drive more foot traffic to a particular store?
Yeah, actually, I'm doing a store opening this week, actually, here in Texas, just outside of Austin. It's available on my Instagram, Diva Q, BBQ. And then I have some other future plans with them. I don't really want to get into that yet, but future plans with Duluth are good.
People love to come to this show and say, we got a lot of great stuff that I cannot tell you about. It's like par for the course here, Danielle, as you know. So you had mentioned Traeger.
It really is.
You've had, look, I mean, I don't know if I can recall anybody that's been on this show that has had back in the day when we first got into this whole thing, like you were just buying Traegers. Like that was the brand you just went out and bought. You were just Danielle at that time and with no creds behind you, and worked it into a pretty decent, deal where you're still with the company that you were with, 13 and 14, 15 years ago, however long it's been. So, I mean, what is it about Traeger that you continue to find valuable and a good ROI for somebody that would be going out to buy a pellet cooker?
Well, one of the things is I've directly worked with them for 4 years. I've been working on them for 13 years. One of the things is I hated the old Traeger company before the new owners took over. I thought they were idiots. I thought they were poorly marketed, poorly planned. The research and development was a joke. And they didn't seem to have any planning. One of the things is that I went on the Today Show, the Today Show, the big one.
I've heard it.
And they didn't want to send me grills because they didn't think a woman would represent them well. That was the original Traeger.
Nice.
And so I literally, when the new Traeger owners took over, they asked for a meeting with me, and I told them where to go and how to get there. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. And then I learned about them and learned about Jeremy Andrus and his brilliant vision. What he'd done with Skull Candy, how he turned that around. Denny Bruce, Luke, Lawrence, Tyler Stark. There's so many great people at Traeger that have this wonderful vision of a company that is accessing wood-fired goodness for everyone without a fear factor, to make it delicious every single day, and to remove a lot of those fear factors, accessibility, learning curves, and I appreciated all those things. I've owned 65 barbecues in my career, 65 barbecues. And through that, I've had offsets. I've had beautiful reverse flow gravity grills. I've had, the other bigger brands. I've had the widest variety of grills. And the one that I come back to for ease of use and consistency, repeatable results was always the Traeger. And that's a genuine endorsement. Now, in addition to that, they corrected a lot of the flaws from the previous manufacturing issues. So the last, 7 years now, has been this incredible part of growth where Traeger is the largest hands down, most successful pellet company in the world. They've developed so much they put so much into the development of the research and development behind the grill that I love the smoke science. I love the smoke technology. I love the fact that they're not just resting on their laurels. They're always looking to make it better. Cleaner smoke, more efficient, better recovery time, Wi-Fi technology, all of those things, better grates, double wall insulated lids. I love that advancement of technology on an ongoing basis because that keeps me excited. It keeps me excited to see the fact that we can sell these grills in Norway. We can sell them in Australia. We sell them in New Zealand. We sell them all over the world. I went to Israel and taught a barbecue class for a week. It was awesome. And so this accessibility to this beautiful American style of cooking, this barbecue awesomeness, is accessible to the world now. And it's easier and it's more consistent. And it's got this beautiful flavor, and that keeps me going. And so I genuinely love what I do. I truly do every day, teaching barbecue. Like last year, I taught over 4,000 students.
Wow.
This year, I'm going to probably top that number again. I've traveled 147,000 miles this year for barbecue already, and I'm not done yet. I still got a few more months to go.
Speaking.
And so I love our accessibility to everybody. It doesn't matter if you're a senior citizen. It doesn't matter if you're a 12-year-old girl. It doesn't matter if you're a 34-year-old man that wants to make, a tailgate party special. I love the fact that everybody can do it. That to me is very exciting.
All right, so you love teaching. You've logged hundreds of thousands of miles to do it, and you're going to do something live and in person at Hartville Hardware after a year of vacancy, actually, from both of us. 2017, we were both there together. We will rejoin forces 2019 at the Hartville Hardware Grillfest in Hartville, Ohio on September 21st. So let's talk a little bit about what you're going to be doing there, and if somebody is going to be coming in for the day or for a handful of hours, what they could expect.
So one of the great things about Hartville Hardware is, the store itself. I mean, it is a spectacular store.
Yep.
And then the icing on the cake for me, really, truly about Hartville Hardware, is the people. They have some of the nicest, incredible staff I have ever met. They are such a proponent of all things barbecue. They support local vendors. They do such a brilliant job in the community. So anybody that comes to Hartville Hardware, you're going to see beautiful demonstrations all day long. I'm going to do 3 demonstrations on 3 different meats.
Wow.
We're going to hand out samples. We're going to talk to people about all things barbecue, all things Traeger. The event's sponsored by Traeger. And I'm happy to be going back. Last year we had a logistical issue. I was out of the country, actually. And I was not able to do it. And so I'm really glad I was able to fit it into my schedule this year. And just the opportunity to go back, I get to see you again. We had such a great time before. And it's just a really awesome barbecue event. They're going to do a competition. I mean, there's so much going on there. And then you just get to wander around that store. That store is so much fun. I bought so much stuff from that store the last time I was there. I had to buy another suitcase to go home.
Yeah, I mean, it's the country's largest hardware store, so if that gives you any idea of how big it is. And then it's got a huge area for barbecues and grills and accessories. Outside, they have that nice burn area where you can see things happening. So it's going to be a really great full day. Starts around 10 a.m., and Danielle will be on 3 different times. Also, there'll be some other live demos as well. So, and if people see you around, if you're not busy doing something, they can come up and say hi and all that good stuff.
Absolutely. I'm doing a book signing there. My book, I made a mistake the other day. I posted that my book was going into its 2nd printing. I actually made a mistake, and Random House actually corrected me. They're like, your book just went into its 3rd printing, and that's really exciting. Yeah. They're literally just waiting for me to write another book. I just haven't had time yet. So I'll be there doing a book signing. It's a bestseller. It was nominated for a Gourmand World Class Book of the Year.
Right.
So, I mean, I'm excited to share all that with everybody.
All right, Danielle, you spend way too much time here away from your bourbon and all those other name drop people that you said about 30 minutes ago. So I appreciate the time. Continue success, and I will see you in a couple weeks.
Hey, thanks, Greg. Thank you so much for all your support over the years. I am truly, truly grateful and thankful. And thanks to all your listeners. It's been amazing.
You got it. Thank you, Danielle. There she is. Danielle Bennett, racing around Austin, Texas, and having dinner with, she say Rogel's Barbecue, and I think maybe Simon Flores was there. A lot of big names. So, I mean, I hate to take people away from a good time, but she said she wouldn't cancel. Hey, guess what? thanks for not canceling, because that would have been really bad for me. So I would have had the whole second hour to fill, and I was already trying to refill. But luckily, wait a second. I just remembered. Didn't I say I was going to lead the conversation by asking Diva Q about Popeyes chicken sandwiches after that had taken up quite a span of time on the show? I can't believe I totally missed that. Well, guess what? I totally missed. That's all right. And we ran a little bit longer, but that's all right. I mean, we still had another segment. There's no way I was going to let her go. John Dawson weighing in. Diva Q is like a female Gary V. Yes. Very excited. Spreading the word. Spreading the gospel of barbecue and grilling. All right, we will come back and finish out the show. You are invited to take part as well. Give you your contact info when we get back. I'll talk to you quickly about Southside Market and barbecue. Attention, anyone who loves sausage and barbecue. That's pretty much all of us, by the way. Established in 1882, Southside, the oldest barbecue joint in Texas. They've been owned and operated by the same family for 3 generations. Famous for the original beef sausage that's coarse ground in a natural pork casing. They're also famous for their authentic Central Texas barbecue. All meats, including the prime briskets, are slow smoked for many hours over real Texas post oak wood. They ship nationwide via the online store, SouthsideMarket.com. And they ship fresh and smoked sausages nationwide. That's right. Shipping customers can choose to order now and ship later. Include a custom gift note, mailed to multiple addresses without additional charges. I do that all the time. All shipped items are vacuum sealed to ensure freshness and ease of preparation for the customer. Shipped with dry ice to ensure complete freshness upon arrival. All meats processed in the on-site USDA inspected facility. 2 restaurants if you want to try them out. Elgin, Texas since 1882. Bastrop, Texas since 2014. Grocery distribution through Texas and many surrounding states as well. And as I say each and every week, here's a kicker. Go to SouthsideMarket.com. Do all of your shopping. Might I suggest getting one of those barbecue meats like ribs or brisket. Also, get the sausage flamber, get the jalapeno cheddar sausage, get the beef sausage, get 2 beef sausages. Get a bunch. It's all really good. Then, as you're checking out, when you are asked for a coupon code, BBQ Central, all one word, 10% off the entire order. Not just this time. Maybe it's your first time over at Southside. It's not 10% off your first time. It's 10% off each and every time you visit. So when you run out of sausages, go back, use code BBQ Central, 10% off. Boom. Great folks over at Southside Market. Very happy to have them aboard. We are back right after this. Stick around.
Continuing to produce incredibly mediocre content in an exceptionally professional way. You're listening and watching the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
Welcome back. This portion of the show being brought to you by Smithfield. Are you ready to find out where you rank against all of the competitive barbecue teams across the country? All of them, regardless of sanctioning body. Visit SmokingWithSmithfield.com to check out your rank on the Smoking with Smithfield National Barbecue Championship leaderboard. If you're not signed up, you cannot be a part of the championship. Quite frankly, things are drawing to a close. That championship is heading up in November. Excuse me. Now, registration is free, so if you want to get in it, you can maybe still try. You can go to the same website, smokingwithsmithfield.com, for all the details. But you got to be registered in order to take part in the National Barbecue Championship, and that takes place in New Orleans at the it's like mid to end November, I believe. So I want to know from some teams, where are you at? As a matter of fact, let's not even worry about where are you at. This week in competitive barbecue, we look at the standings. National Barbecue Championship, your top 5. Pig Chicka Cow Cow is number 5. Chris Hatcher is number 4. Getting Basted, number 3. Heavy Smoke, number 2. And sitting atop the National Barbecue Championship leaderboard, Boomerang Barbecue, if you need it, by 2,000 points-ish. I'm sorry. Is that right? Yeah, 2,000 points. They have 26,031 points. Heavy Smoke has 24,160 points. Clark Cruz around there at 13. Iowa Smoky D's is in there at 18. Four Legs Up at 25. Lucky's Q, top 30. Nice. So we'll see how that inaugural event unfolds. And then, the big thing now is who will Smithfield be around next year? Will there be a second National Barbecue Championship that incorporates all of the sanctioning bodies, not just some? And we'll see about that. SmokingWithSmithfield.com to get signed up or to check the leaderboard. Thanks again to Danielle Bennett for joining me last lawn segment. She's in Austin right now, getting ready to open up a Duluth store, cook some food, all that good stuff. So if you're going to be around there or you're a fan like I was, of course, figures. I was right by a Duluth store today when I was coming back up from Canton. The National Football League's Hall of Fame, by the way, Hall of Fame City. There's a lot of Hall of Fame cities around here now that I'm thinking about it. There's the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame City of Cleveland. There's the Football Hall of Fame City of Canton. There's the Softball Hall of Fame City of Euclid, Ohio. There's the Polka Hall of Fame City, which is also Euclid. We got a lot of Halls of Fame. I'm not sure where the Barbecue Wizard... Wait, I do know. That's in Porksylvania, as we learned last year, Porksylvania, for those that are keeping score. So we do have a lot of Halls of Fame around here in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame City. Not to be redundant. I've always wanted to go in the store. Isn't Duluth the one with the underwear where it doesn't pinch your crotch or something like that? Bare naked underwear or fur bear underwear or something like that. And they're very unique looking stores. And when I was looking at it, it looked like women go to this side, men go to this side. Maybe that's completely false, but it said women's clothing, men's clothing. Maybe that just means they carry both. But I look at it always very pragmatically as hey, it's this or it's that. If there's a sign here, it means it's got to be there. Women on the left, men on the right. I should check it out. For some reason, I correlate Duluth with what would be in competition with Carhartt, but maybe that's completely wrong. I got to go in there, check it out. So if you're going to be in Austin, go ahead and check that out. Say hi to Danielle. She's ready to sign autographs and take pictures, of course, feed you good food. And then, as she had mentioned, and as I had mentioned, we'll both be together in Hartville, Ohio for the Hartville Hardware Grillfest 2019. That's September 1st. I'm sorry, that's September 21st. Check that, September 21st, starting at 10 a.m. And we'll have fun there, I guarantee it. I think last time she only did 2 demos, but she'll be doing 3 demos across the day. So, she might even be right out of the gate. They might start at 10:30 or 11, 12, 1, 2. No, they might start at 10, right out of the gate. So it would be Traeger, Weber, Big Green Egg, and then turn them right back around. Wow, holy moly. I'm looking forward to that. There's nothing better than having Diva Q on the stage doing her cooking thing. I'm out there working the mic, asking great questions like we normally do. What you just heard on this show, you will probably hear on stage, except both of us will be live She will not be on a phone in Texas, and I will not be in my basement. We will both be live, right? I'll be asking questions. I'll be asking insightful questions that the general Tom, Dick, and Harry want to ask, or maybe they're too embarrassed to ask, so I'll just ask it anyway. We'll get some questions from the crowd. It'll be great. If you're on the fence, it's going to be worth it. There's going to be food to eat. There's going to be samples. There's going to be things to buy. The country's biggest hardware store. The country. There's homes in this hardware store. Homes. Fully working things like homes. Right there. If you want to get in touch with the show,
you can get in touch with the show by calling 216-220-0966. Email Greg at the BBQCentralShow.com. On the Twitter and Instagrams at BBQ Central Show.
Still no word from Craig Barr, who is the Popeyes chicken celebrity. I'm trying to think who's the bigger celebrity now. Instant poll here in the chat. Who's the bigger celebrity? Is it the guy that cracked the rim and got heisted for 25 U.S. bones? Or is it the group, the flash mob, that brandished a weapon at the Texas Popeyes? That might have been in Austin, if I'm recollecting correctly. Or perhaps the better question is, who's the bigger bag? Is it Craig Barr, who shined on this show at 10 p.m. Eastern, top of the hour, leading into Diva Q segment, to talk about why in the hell is he chasing around these chicken sandwiches? Or is the bigger bag the mob that when they were told at the drive-thru that they were out of chicken sandos, they decided to take to the front door and pull out a gun and leave their infant in the car while they whooped it up? Man, oh man. I'm thinking I did not text the flash mob. And that, pulling a gun, that is a whole new level of kook. I mean, flash mob, one thing. Hey, we're angry. Hey, we're all in the car. We're probably fueled up on liquor and beer at the least. Maybe there's some meth thrown in down there. Maybe cocaine. That seems to be making a comeback these days. So maybe they're all fueled up on some stuff. They're getting a little out of hand. I can see that. That's not as bad as the guy in Chattanooga. He would take bag on that because he's racing around miles and miles, location to location, telling a reporter on the record that he can't get the chicken sandwich out of his mind, but he's never had it. But he can't get right. He wins that bag contest. But when you pull out a gun, that changes things. Now we got felonies and brandishing weapons and maybe attempted this or that. That changes everything. So I think as much as I want to say that the Chattanooga guy is the biggest bag because of all of the stuff that he did earlier in the week, and then corresponded with me only to leave me high and dry top of the second hour, which was a terrible mistake on his part, I think it's the people that pull out the gun. They're the bigger bag. They have to be. They've pulled the gun out. When you pull a gun out, things are serious. Like, that is the life and death scenario that people always talk about. Huff Daddy Barbecue, busting a cap for Popeyes since 2019. That's right. That's right. All right, let's get caught up here on this because I went a little aggressive on the reads on the front. I don't have one right here, but we can make up for it. We're going to wrap up the show here in just a few minutes. You're listening and watching the Barbecue Central show right here on the Barbecue Central Network.
Whole packers, full racks, legs and thighs, injecting butts. If you've never heard this before, you might think you found the best XXX show ever. Let's get back to the most homoerotic host out there today, Greg Rempe.
All right, welcome back. The real Joey B said, great show, putting it on the calendar, but then he took it back. He didn't mean it. He didn't mean it. I saw that, Joey B. For as good as this show was, for as calendar worthy as this show is tonight, and this is not a guest thing, this is a me thing, working back into the mold, I got to do a better job at fading that song out. That's highly annoying. The show is typically actually even better. Maybe you just like the ramblings of Popeyes, which I felt very entrusted with talking about. I don't think it's getting nearly enough coverage by the national news. Kettle cookers, enjoying the Popeyes talk. Love olive oil. I see what you did. First YouTuber to do a Popeyes chicken sandwich at home video wins a zillion views. That's right, no doubt. Joey, why did you take that message back? You've hurt my feelings. Guess what? Guess who we're talking about next week? We're talking the real Joey B next week in the open. Sorry, buddy. I'm kidding. Kidding. This portion of the show, by the way, is brought to you by The Smoke Sheet. It's a free weekly newsletter that keeps you in the know on everything happening in the barbecue world, including top news, events, recipes, and more, started by Ryan Cooper. You find him on Instagram as Barbecue Tourist. And Sean Ludwig, also known as New York City Barbecue on a lot of social media channels. And both of them travel around the country to find the best barbecue, then report on it. Great. We all talk about that, but we don't do it. You can sign up for the newsletter and see full events on their barbecue calendar at bbqnewsletter.com, a great all-in-one resource covering the live fire industry. All right, let's go. All the way back in the first hour, we talked with Malcom Reed from How to Barbecue Right, howtobbqright.com, Killer Hogs Barbecue. New rubs are about ready to hit the market, as he said. If you missed the first hour, podcast will be out a little bit later this evening, all through tomorrow, and then the second hour of the podcast on Thursday. Best of coming up this Friday, episode 88, taking you back to September 9th of 2014, where you find a John Solberg doubleheader taking place in this episode. I talk about the anniversary of September 11th, 2001. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast to get that. Big show you planned for you otherwise. We have Meathead in. We have Doug Hassel in from Hassel Wagyu. Maybe you've seen them on social media recently. Big show planned. Your phone calls and emails as well. September 11th, 2001. I will never forget. Until next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, this is your program host and proud U.S. American, Greg Rempe. Good night now.